Well, look at that. We are up to Chapter 3, and we're looking at contingency planning in this particular video. And what we're going to do is go through some initial discussion, some introductory comments about this. We'll, of course, start off with our CNS security model cube. There'll be a couple of videos, actually, where we talk about responding to these different types of attacks. And then we'll move in and start looking at contingency planning and plans and a unified planning approach. So that's really our structure for what we're going to do over these next set of videos that cover Chapter 3 from Whitman. Okay, there are the agenda that we're going to use as we get into this particular chapter. Wow, look, it's gone. There's the CNSS security model, and those 18 different types of attacks or issues associated with security that you want to be able to address. And again, there are some subsequent videos that talk about responding, 3 videos each covering 6 different types of attacks. Okay, lesson objectives. We'll talk about why contingency planning is important, some major components, and then we'll really start getting into some basic types of contingency plans, escalating from incident response up to business continuity as we kind of go through these. So let's start with some definitions. This contingency planning is this overall process of preparing for unexpected events, and it's really got 4 components associated with it, and we're going to get into more detail associated with each one. But basically, you want to start off with doing that analysis and figuring out what's the possible business impact. Let's say, for example, that you live in an area that's frequented by tornadoes. You might want to do a business impact analysis on tornadoes. If flooding is a risk, if hurricanes are a risk, those are different components that you would want to analyze. But you want to look at what the major risks are within your area. If you have unstable power, if you're in a war zone, you want to look at what those risks are out there and do a serious analysis of what does this really mean, and that's what that business impact analysis does. And then these other 3 look at different parts of that. They all depend on a business impact analysis, but an incident response plan says, hey, something just happened. A person just had a heart attack. How am I going to respond to that particular incident? So a lot of planning goes into preparing for incidents before they ever occur. The next component talks about a disaster recovery. A disaster has occurred. You now need to respond. What are going to be those short-term or potentially long-term changes that you're going to have to make to recover from that particular disaster? And then business continuity gets into the area that you've lost a major data center, you've lost your site completely. How do you continue business in that space? And again, there are different techniques associated with doing that and providing security within that space. So again, we're looking at contingency planning. We're going to spend some time doing a business impact analysis, looking at incident response plans, disaster recovery plans, business continuity plans. I would tell you that these flow down. You typically don't start with a business continuity plan. You start with business impact analysis. After you've solved that, for the most probable threats, you move into incident response. From that, you move into disaster recovery, and from that, you move into business continuity. Why? Because the chances of an incident occurring are much higher than the need to invoke a business continuity plan. In most cases. So it's not always true, but in most cases, you're going to start at the top and kind of work down as you go through this. Let's look at now the process by which you do contingency planning. First of all, you need to have a policy statement that governs the activity that you're looking at. You start looking at that business impact. The what if. What if this happens, and so what? So what if that happened? Does it really make any difference at all? So for example, let's say I'm Microsoft and I'm running email for a college and I'm providing it for free. So what if you go down for 3 seconds? Does anybody really care? Probably not. Not for 3 seconds. So are you going to build the infrastructure so you never go down for 3 seconds? Maybe not, especially not if you're offering it for free. But you probably don't want to go down for a couple of days because you're going to have a lot of disgruntled folks. They're not going to trust your service. And so you have to have a policy statement around this, do some business impact, then start looking at, well, what are some preventive controls? What are some things we can put into place right now that put some left and right boundaries around the potential business impact of some contingency occurring? After you do that, you want to start working on what are our recovery strategies. What is in our palette of possible tools that we could use to recover, and then some evaluation of those recovery strategies and how valid are they within the particular contingency that you're looking at. Finally, you want to develop that IT contingency plan. You want to test it. You want to do training. You want to exercise it. You want to maintain it over time. So that testing, training, and exercise, you want to set up a period by which you're going back and you're actually doing this and training everyone on using it and testing it out and doing an exercise. And again, the more likelihood, or the more likely I should say, that a contingency is going to fire, the more often you're going to do that training, exercise, and testing. Finally, you need some planned maintenance. When are you going to circle back around, come back and relook at your policy statement, your business impact analysis, preventive controls, a recovery strategy, and then develop a new plan? So those are going to be the key components in this planning process. Now let's look at sections within one of these documents. So again, just like a strategic plan, you're going to start off with a senior management statement. Typically, that's going to be about 1 page, signed by the CEO or the CIO or CISO. You're going to have a secure or a scope and purpose for your contingency planning operations, why you need to do periodic assessment and business impact analysis, describe the major components, select some of those recovery and business continuity strategies, identify some requirements for doing periodic testing, and then link this to key individuals, what their roles and responsibilities are, and key regulations and standards or processes that are going to be associated with this. As you're doing this, not surprisingly, you're going to form a couple of different teams that assist you, each with kind of different focus, but they're all going to work together. So when you start looking at this, you're going to have a contingency planning management team, and that's an overarching team, and then you're going to have sub-teams, if you will, incident response, disaster recovery, and business continuity. Now you may have people that serve on each of these teams, or you may have people that are completely different and only serve on one team based on their expertise. So again, this should give you some overview of what you should be looking at as you go forward. I'm going to start the next video looking at these 4 teams and then providing some more detail about what their roles are. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you got something out of it, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.